Welcome to the Lauren Blackwell channel. I cannot be the only one that wondered why Brad Pitt will reveal that he is off the wagon after 7 years of not drinking. Being off the wagon to me is the normal process, like it's the normal part of sobriety. I don't know if people that experience this usually make like a clean break where they just get off and stay off and never get back on. I think getting back on the wagon is part of the process, and I don't know if that is what is happening here, but during Brad Pitt's interview with Esquire, he revealed that he was back off the wagon after 7 years of sobriety. And it's led to a lot of people to wonder why and what caused it. And the reason why this is news is because I think that one of the reasons why Brad Pitt decided to stop drinking is because of the 2016 incident with his family at the time. So Angelina Jolie and the kids. If you guys remember, there was that whole incident where she even had to file a report. Some things were reported to the FBI where there was an incident where Angelina Jolie and the kids and Brad Pitt were on an airplane, a private jet. I forgot where they were going to, but they were on a private jet and there was an argument between the two adults and things got a little bit aggressive. At the time when this argument occurred, Brad Pitt was drinking. Whether or not he was very much inebriated, I don't know. I also do not know if the fact that he was drinking had something to do with this, although I am inclined to think so because our inhibitions are lowered when we have alcohol. That's just what alcohol does. So it makes sense to assume that. However, he was drinking, they were arguing, there was some aggression, verbal and physical, very physical. So much so that a lot of his alcohol ended up on Angelina Jolie's head and on some of the kids as well. And it was this whole thing where it ended up resulting in them being separated for a while, and then eventually they got divorced. And so it makes me wonder if Brad Pitt is someone that is highly affected by alcohol to where it may make him a little bit more active than he normally is. Some people, when they have too much to drink, they get sleepy and they go to sleep. They will sleep anywhere, it doesn't matter. They will fall down in mud, in a pool of water, and fall asleep, which can also be dangerous. But there are some people that do not fall asleep. They do the opposite. They become more energized, and because their inhibitions are lowered, if you upset them, it is a strong possibility that with the alcohol energizing them and their lowered inhibitions, they can become more aggressive than they normally are. I'm not saying that this was what happened with him, Brad Pitt, but the fact that the report was, it sounded as if alcohol was a factor in the level of aggression that Angelina Jolie and the children experienced during that flight from Brad Pitt, and also the fact that he decided to pursue sobriety makes you think that perhaps even he believes that alcohol was a factor in his behavior. So if alcohol was a factor and he decided to make some changes and he decided to stop drinking, Why did he decide to get off of it now? I'm wondering, is it because he no longer has to worry about his behavior around his kids? Because remember, a lot of them have dropped his last name, and they don't seem to have a relationship with him. And so, if he doesn't have a relationship with them and they are the reasons he decided to pursue sobriety in the first place, then perhaps because they're no longer in his life, he decided there was no need for him to continue to pursue sobriety. But I would think that it should take more than his children to make him want to pursue sobriety. Because how about just being a better person? Because also remember, he was not only aggressive towards the children, he was also aggressive towards Angelina Jolie. So if he has the tendency to become verbally and physically aggressive when he drinks, and he is currently in a relationship, why would he not continue to pursue sobriety, just in case there's a risk of it happening again with his current partner? So I don't know. I think that it might be a bit of a red flag that he's no longer pursuing sobriety. And if you were on a journey towards self-improvement, why would you decide to get off of it? Like, I don't know, the way he phrased it, it doesn't seem like it was a temporary thing. It just sounded to me like, does he plan to go back to his sobriety journey, or does he believe that he can handle it now and he no longer needs to? Which I wouldn't be surprised if it is the latter. Maybe he thinks that he no longer needs to aggressively pursue sobriety. He can just, drink like every normal person who drinks. Drink in moderation, drink occasionally, on social occasions, etc., without it being labeled as a problem. So maybe he thinks he can do that, which is why he decided to end his 7 year sobriety journey. But I don't know, this seems like a slippery slope to me. If your drinking is bad to the extent where you have to pursue sobriety, then I don't think that simply getting off the wagon all by yourself without anyone like coordinating you or managing the whole thing, I don't know if that would be successful. I feel like he might just find himself back at square one. And when you're older, alcohol does a different kind of damage to you. Like, there's more severe damage. It's not like he's super young anymore where he can just overcome the effects of alcohol. He's older now, so he has to think about that as well. Like, he has to think about his health as well, not just his behavior towards other people. But always, it is super important, I think, that if you are this sort of a person who becomes more active or aggressive after you have consumed alcohol, then I feel like if you feel like you tend to drink a lot, that is something you need to look into. Because, he doesn't want a situation where this current girlfriend eventually will have a story that is similar to Angelina Jolie, and then it becomes like almost like a situation where Angelina Jolie's accusations are verified by the current girl. Because the fact is, if you cannot control your alcohol, you cannot control your behavior when you have something to drink. And for him to willingly get off the wagon, I think that is a red flag, in my opinion. Also, this is why real consequences are needed for this kind of behavior. Because from what I remember, despite the FBI reports and someone anonymously, quote unquote, anonymously called and reported the incident and gave more details, people are assuming it was Angelina that made the call, but they don't know for a fact. It was an anonymous call to the FBI. There was an investigation that was conducted, including, social services, the police. It was quite an investigation, actually, because the allegations were quite serious. And the allegations were that he was drunk and he started the whole physical altercation. Okay, but after investigating, they found that there was no evidence to support the claims that were made, and the investigation basically was dropped. Nothing came off of it. Obviously, this means that Brad Pitt suffered no consequences for what happened. Do I believe that the family or whoever this anonymous person was who called and reported to the authorities, do I believe that they just decided to make up a whole story and none of this happened and included the kids? Absolutely not. I don't believe that this story is fake. I think there's some truth to it. What exactly the truth is, we don't know, but I do not believe that the story is fake. And when something like this happens, you don't experience any punishment for it. He basically got away with doing that, which may explain some of the anger that a lot of the kids have towards him. But basically, because he did not experience any consequences for his actions, I don't think the courts ordered him to become sober. I think it was a personal decision that he made because he decided to better himself and better his life, basically. And because it was not court ordered, he can obviously drop it whenever he feels like it. And now he is off the wagon because he is not required to continue. So if you getting off of something that you struggle with is self-directed and you don't feel the need to continue because the reason why you were doing it in the first place is lost to you, like, your kids have changed their last names, they want nothing to do with you, and you feel like, well, what's the point? There's no point in me doing this. I can control this myself. I can just drink in moderation. Then obviously there's less incentive to continue. And so perhaps that is why he's back off the wagon. And I don't know. I hope he's able to do this by himself and handle, the substance by himself, such that he does not find himself in the same predicaments that he was previously. Because when too many people begin to come out and give the same reports that you were drunk and did X, Y, and Z, then it becomes a problem. It begins to harm his reputation. I personally do not believe that if you're going to get off of any substance, you should do it all by yourself, because this is what happens when it becomes too much of an inconvenience. You just might drop it, which I feel like that is what is happening here. But we don't know for a fact. I'm just more surprised that he actually admitted to being off the wagon. But I guess he had to say it at some point because he is going to be seen with a drink at some point. He goes on a lot of social events. So if he is seen socializing with a drink in his hand, then it's going to be a question of, wait, wasn't he on a sobriety journey? Why does he have a drink? And then he's going to have to explain himself at that point. So I think it's best that he just came out and let people know that he is off the wagon. There was a lot of people that believe that Angelina Jolie was just trying to create problems for Brad Pitt and she was making stuff up when all of these allegations and stories started to come out about their marriage and specifically what happened on that private jet. But now you can see that perhaps it wasn't false information. And it makes you wonder as well, how come the investigators did not find any evidence of this? Because Brad Pitt himself have said it in a different interview that after the incidents that occurred where his marriage ended, he decided to quit drinking because he realized that drinking in large quantities was not for him. So if he acknowledged that his drinking was a problem and it possibly led to, and I believe he was referring to that particular incident on the jet as well, if he believed that he was at fault enough to go on this sobriety journey, how come the investigators did not find any evidence? This is all just so unfair. Like, Angelina Jolie was demonized because a lot of people still do not like her because of her having this relationship with Brad Pitt, while Jennifer Aniston was, in a difficult time with their marriage and everything. So people held her to that, and because of that, they did not believe her. But the fact that Brad Pitt decided by himself, the courts did not tell him to do this, he decided to go on the sobriety journey, means he admits that his drinking in large quantities did some damage to his relationship with his ex-wife and his children. But for some reason, the investigators found no evidence. It's all such a joke, honestly. It's all such a joke. It's almost like if you're a big celebrity and you're female, you have to record some parts of your life because stuff like this, if it's caught on video, then people are more likely to believe. But if it's not caught on video, people are going to accuse you of all sorts of things, and nobody will listen to you. No one will believe what you say, and it's got to be infuriating, especially if there's some physical aggression involved. So in my opinion, the fact that Brad Pitt agreed to go on this sobriety journey, in a way, he is admitting that his drinking caused harm to his family, and I think he owes them a public apology. Yes, they can have their conversations behind closed doors, but Angelina Jolie was criticized heavily by the public, even by a lot of women as well. And I think at some point, Brad Pitt is going to have to just issue some sort of apology, to his family if he really wants to bring them back together. And I hope he's able to handle this sobriety by himself. He did say in an interview with Esquire that he intends to drink a little bit at a time and keep things professional. But what happens when he gets stressed out again and he needs to reach out to something to help him deal with the stress? If he has not got a handle on this, I think that there's a possibility that this can become a problem for him again. But hey, he knows himself better than anybody else, so I guess he knows what he's doing. I am just wondering. But yeah, this is all I have to say on Brad Pitt. I was just wondering why nobody's talking about the fact that Angelina Jolie may just have been right when she talked about the violence after Brad Pitt was drunk on that private jet. And everyone's talking about him being off the wagon, but nobody's linking it. Nobody wants to admit that Angelina Jolie may have been telling the truth after all. That's all I have today. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys.